Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel after such a controversial episode. If you've not seen that episode, I'll have the link in the description box below. Today we're diving into the story of a very interesting Bible character. His name Daniel. So we begin. This story begins around 605 BC when King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon conquered Jerusalem, and then they took captives from the city of Babylon. Among these captives was a young man named Daniel, along with his three friends, Manahiah, Mishael, and Azariah. These young men were chosen to serve the king's palace because of their intellect, their good looks, and potential, amongst other youths. But when they arrived Babylon, they were given new names. Daniel became Belshazzar, Hananiah became Shadrach, Mishael became Meshach, and Azariah became Abednego. Their captors hoped to erase their identity and allegiance to God, but Daniel and his friend resolved to remain faithful to God. Early in their training, Daniel and his friend faced their first test of faith. The king offered them food and wine from his own table, food that were likely dedicated to Babylonian gods to eat, so it would compromise their devotion to God. Now, Daniel pleaded with the palace officials and says, "Please test your servant for 10 days. Allow us eat only vegetables and drink water. Then you compare our appearance with those that eat the king's food." God honored their faith, and after 10 days, they were looking healthier and stronger than those who ate the royal food. This small act of obedience set the tone for the rest of their lives in Babylon. One night, King Nebuchadnezzar had a disturbing dream that none of his wise men or magicians could interpret. He was very furious. He ordered that all the wise men of Babylon to be executed, including Daniel and his friends. But Daniel sought God in prayer. He asked God for wisdom to reveal the king's dream and his meaning. That night, God revealed the mystery of the dream to Daniel in a vision. Then Daniel went before the king and interpreted the dream. Daniel explained to the majesty that no wise man can interpret your dream. There's a God in heaven who reveals mystery. You dreamt of a great statue with a head of gold, chest and arms of silver, belly and thighs of bronze, legs of iron, and feet of clay and iron. Daniel explained that the statue represented a succession of kingdoms, starting with Babylon as the head of gold. But one day, God's eternal kingdom will crush them all and reign forever. After Daniel explained this dream, the king was amazed and he honored Daniel. He declared, "Surely your God is the God of the gods and the Lord of kings." Years later, Nebuchadnezzar built a giant golden statue and commanded everyone to worship it. But Daniel's friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, refused to bow down, staying true to their faith in God. Nebuchadnezzar was furious. He was angry. He said, "If you do not bow down, you will be thrown into a blazing furnace. Then what God will save you?" Shadrach replied to the king. He said, "Our God is able to deliver us. But even if he does not, we will not worship your God or bow down to your statue." Of course, this ended them in the furnace of fire. The furnace was so hot that the soldiers that were throwing them in were killed by the flames. But as Nebuchadnezzar watched, he leapt his feet in amazement. Nebuchadnezzar shouted, "Didn't you throw 3 men into the fire? Look, I can see 4 men walking unharmed, and the 4th looks like the son of the gods." God has sent an angel to protect them. When they emerged, not a single hair was singed, and they didn't even smell of smoke. Nebuchadnezzar praised God, declaring, "No other God can save in this way." Again, years after that, during the reign of King Belshazzar, a mysterious event took place. Belshazzar threw a grand feast, and in arrogance, he used the sacred vessels from God's temple for drinking wine. Suddenly, a hand appeared and wrote a cryptic message on the wall, "Mene mene tekel parsin." The terrified king called for Daniel to interpret the message. Daniel came and he said, "Your Majesty, the words mean that God has numbered your days of your reign and brought it to an end. You have been weighed and found wanting. Your kingdom will be divided and given down to the Medes and Persians." That night, Belshazzar was killed, and Babylon fell to the Medes and Persians. After Belshazzar was killed, a new king emerged, his name King Darius. Under King Darius, Daniel's faith was tested again. Jealous officials conspired against him, tricking the king into signing a law that made prayer to God punishable by death. But Daniel continued praying 3 times a day, as he has always had. The officials, they reported Daniel and he was thrown into the lion's den. But God sent an angel to shut the mouth of the lions and Daniel remained unharmed. Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God come to rescue you? This was what King Darius asked Daniel the next morning. But Daniel cried out from the lion's den. He said, my God sent his angel and he shut the mouth of the lions. Now, King Darius asked that Daniel be brought out of the den and then his accusers be thrown into the den. Immediately, they were devoured. And then King Darius declared throughout his kingdom, the God of Daniel is a living God and he endures forever. Years later, Daniel lived a long life, serving God faithfully under multiple kings and empires. God revealed to him visions of future kingdom and the coming of the Messiah, visions that inspire us to this day. Daniel's story reminds us of the power of faith, courage, and trust in God, even in the face of impossible odds. His unwavering commitment to God shows us that no matter what challenge, God is always with those who remain faithful. What exactly do you learn from the life of Daniel today? And what inspires you the most about the life of Daniel? Let me know in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe for more inspiring stories from the Bible. Until next time, bye!